Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, I've been sitting here contemplating the mystical pentacle. Isn't this beautiful? This is one of my pieces of jewelry, and it's got a beautiful little amethyst crystal in the middle, a little purple gemstone there. Isn't that lovely? Anyways, I love to meditate on ancient and mystical symbols. I really believe that the universe is full of signs and symbols that reconnect us back, that connect us back to our true selves. For me, the pinnacle is one of those symbols. It does it for me. Well, here we are. Now, I told you guys today we were going to talk about Lemurian crystals and do some spiritual meditation work with them. And, I've got my beautiful Lemurian crystal here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you want to see my previous, I have 2 other videos on Lemurian crystals, and I'll put the links below. But this is a continuation on from our video that we had on Monday about working with Lemurian crystals. And we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. But I wanted just to share some thoughts with you today. I think one of the things that you want to do if you want to work with the Lemurian crystals is you want to try to find one, okay? Now you can look online. I think Lady Angela may sell some at her site at rarewiccaspells.com. Go over there, ask her about that. But if she doesn't carry them or you don't find them there, look around. Just type in Lemurian crystals. You can buy them at Amazon or at eBay. And they're usually 6-sided crystals. Now this is a giant Lemurian. Most of them are about that size, about 1 inch to 2 inches. And they're not, the cheapest of crystals because they are very valuable. But they're not outrageous. You can usually find them within $20, okay? And a small one will cost you maybe $3 or $4, so maybe 10 if it's a really high grade one. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to buy a giant one like this. But if you have the money and want to splurge and find one, then by all means get it. I always say when you're choosing a crystal, well, really it's more like the crystal and you choose each other, Like I saw this crystal and it's like I was going to die if I didn't get it. So I spent the money to buy it, and, I love it. Now, one of the features of Lemurians, people have been asking me about this, they can be clear or they can be frosted. And some of them even have tints of color, like there's golden healing Lemurian crystals. I saw one recently called Silver Aura. It's literally like a silver crystal. It's beautiful. But most Lemurians are either just clear, plain white quartz, or they may be frosted. This one I bought, it's frosted because I've never seen a frosted one this size, and it just spoke to me. Doesn't matter whether it's clear or it's frosted, okay? But what's important is that you feel connected to it. One of the telltale features you want to look for in your Lemurians is for I call it the memory records sign. Now you'll see here, it's kind of hard to see, but there are ridges here that go up and down, kind of like a ladder on the side of the crystal. See if I can get it in. You can see it a little bit there. It's hard to show here with the lighting today. But you'll see these ridges. They look like, they call them ladder ridges. It's believed that these ladder ridges are actually codexes. They are, in a sense, memories implanted in the crystal. It's believed that these crystals, they're called seed crystals because the ancient Lemurians planted them in the earth. They would walk, and when they were at a sacred place or felt a connection, they wanted to preserve this knowledge and memory for future generations. And they planted these crystals in the ground. Some of them grew, some of them stayed just as they were, but the Lemurians had great spiritual power, and they were able to encode consciousness into each crystal. Now, I know somebody out there is going to say, oh, Bob, I don't believe that. That's crazy. That's okay. I'm not saying you have to believe this. I'm just saying that is what has been reported. And for those of us who are psychically sensitive, I think many of us can confirm this seems to actually be true. I can tell you through working with Lemurians, I've picked up messages that there's no way I could have known and things that I were able later to confirm. So, I invite you, explore these crystals. So the first step is you want to get a crystal, And I tell people, once you get a crystal, probably the best way to start to work with it is, well, when you want to cleanse it, because sometimes crystals have residue. They've been, in shops and handled by people. So I generally just make a light salt water bath, dip it in it. I don't leave it in because I don't know if salt will be too corrosive to these, but I just generally dip it in a salt water bath for a few moments, take it out, and then rinse it under cool water. And generally I'll just put it out in the window ledge for a day and let it absorb moonlight and sunlight. That seems to charge it and purify it. And then it's ready to work with. And I think one of the things that you want to do when you work with the Lemurian crystal is just start, first of all, with just sitting with the crystal, okay? And so if you have a crystal today and you're ready to work with it, I would encourage you just get it and hold it in your receptive hand. Now, what is your receptive hand? Well, if you are a right-handed person, then your left hand is your receptive hand. If you're a left-handed person, vice versa, your right hand is your receptive. Your receptive hand is the hand that you do not write with. Now, if you're ambidextrous, because I know somebody's going to ask me about that, it can be either hand. I am a left-handed person, so my right hand is my receptive hand. So you want to first just hold the crystal in your hand. And what I would do is study the crystal. I believe that there are literally messages encoded in these. So just by looking at it, it's like looking at the mind of a person. There's an energy in it. While you're holding it in your hand, you may feel a slight humming, an electric current. Some people feel that. If you don't feel it, that's okay. It doesn't mean you don't have a real Lemurian. But you will know that there is an energy in it the more you work with it. So just hold it. And I think the first step in meditation, we're actually going to do a whole series on this. So this is just part one. We're not going to cover it all today, okay? But as you hold your crystal, just look at it, rotate its sides. You may have an image while you look into it, like a flash of a face or an image of a temple. Or you may have a simple knowing that comes to you, a knowing that says, this crystal was used by a great and ancient healer. Or you may pick it up and say, this crystal was held by somebody during their psychic trances, and all of their trance memories are encoded. You'll come to know what's in your crystal. As I've held this crystal over the last few weeks, it's revealed to me that it contains the history of the people of Lemuria. And as I've ran my hands along the ridges here, on the ladder ridges, it's hard to see here, but these ridges go up and down. You can feel them with your finger. I've had flashes of people, flashes of temples, flashes of historical moments. It's helped me to come to understand the Lemurians. And, besides just knowledge, crystals also just bring peace. So if you sit with your crystal and you immediately say, well, I'm not getting visions, I'm not getting flashes, maybe your message for your crystal is just to receive peace. So I would invite you, allow that peace also to be part of sitting with your crystal. So what we want to do today is just sit with our crystal, predominantly in your receptive hand, or you can use both. This is heavy, so I'm going to use both hands. And I've been studying its faces. Touch your crystal, get to know its surface. I believe that they carry an electrical current. So as you run your hands across the surface, you may trigger kind of an energy cycle within the crystal. You may open a portal, in a sense, within the crystal. Because since the crystals hold consciousness, how do we release that? Well, we release it through our physical self and our spiritual self. So touching the crystal stimulates the physical element that also will then open the doors to the spiritual. See, it's not a case of is it physical or is it spiritual? It's both, because we inhabit a material world. So just today, let's just hold our crystal and let's just sit for a moment. I want you, if you have a crystal, just hold it now. Hold it in your receptive hand or in both. You have a small one, you can do receptive, or you might want to do both. But try either way. And just hold your crystal. Now, as I hold it, I'm looking at the faces. And it's interesting because I keep seeing flashes of light in this. Now, some of it may be literally the light is being bent. But sometimes when I see these lights, I also see something behind the light. So there's a great mystery in this crystal. And I'm going to keep working with it. It hasn't revealed all of its secrets to me. You'll find that when you work with Lemurian crystals, it takes time because they are guardians, they are preservers of knowledge. And the crystals aren't just going to give it up to anybody. No, because they've been entrusted by their planters, those who encoded this crystal and planted it with a sacred trust, a sacred knowledge that was to be revealed at the right time. So the crystals will hold their secrets. And I can tell you from somebody who's worked with crystals, sometimes you'll have a crystal for even a year or two before it will unlock its information. And one day you sit down with it and it's like, whoa, oh my God, all this power comes out. I'll never forget years ago when I was first working with crystals, I went to somebody's home and they said, Bob, I got this amazing crystal. And they had this crystal, it was even bigger than this one. It was a Lemurian crystal. And the minute they handed me the crystal, it's like electric current came out. It was amazing. I've never encountered a crystal so powerful. But it got me wondering, and it got me thinking about, what is this? Is there truth to all of this? At the time, I thought it was a little bit of New Age hocus pocus. But what we might tend to initially write off as a bunch of drama. If we sit down and work with it, great truths will be revealed. So I invite you today, just hold your crystal, touch it, talk to it. So like as I hold this crystal, I say, crystal, do you have a message? Is there something that you want to reveal to me? Who encoded you? Where have you been? Where do you come from? Can you show me the past? Can you show me the future? See, I believe that these crystals not only carry the past of Lemuria, I believe they also are encoded for our present time, particularly in relation to the future of humanity. The souls who planted these crystals throughout the world had a mission behind this, and they foresaw a time on the earth when humanity will be at a crossroads. I believe we're at that crossroads where humanity has now the power to really push into the age of enlightenment or to destroy itself. So it's really quite a mystery. So today for our meditation, we're going to just practice sitting and being still with our crystal. Ask it questions. Look into its surfaces. Touch its edges. Feel its ridges. Come to know it, every part of it. Know your crystal so well that you could pick it up in the middle of the night. Let's say there's a power outage, that you could feel your crystal and know every groove. You want to know your crystal so well that if you were blindfolded and there were 100 crystals on a table and somebody handed you different crystals, you would know which one was yours and which one wasn't. That's how well you want to know your crystal. You know every surface, every ridge. And as you touch it, you're also coding your own brain to know it. So remember, we want to unify body, mind, and spirit. And by simply sitting with your crystal, you open those doors. Well, guys, I'm so glad you've been with us today. I'm going to leave it at that today. I think that's a little bit for you to work with today. I think it's going to give you some deep stuff to work on. And if you haven't got a crystal yet, go ahead, pop over to Lady Angela's site, rarewiccaspells.com. See if she can hook you up with a Lemurian crystal. And tell me about your experiences. Maybe some of you have a crystal today and you've started working with it. I'd love to hear in the comments box below, what's your experience? Maybe you had a revelation about your crystal today. Tell us about that. I'd sure love to hear it. Well, guys, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here at Spirit Channel. Listen, if you've enjoyed this video, show Psychics Bob some love. Like this video, favorite it, share it, please. Let's get the word out. Share this video. And if you can, or if you have done so, hit subscribe. Be part of our channel. We're going to be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, which is Zodiac Thursday. We're going to talk about the astrology tomorrow. But we're also going to do some more work with the crystals. So I don't know if it's going to be in one video or two, but we'll have both of those subjects tomorrow. So definitely be here. And we're going to explore more about the Lemurian crystal. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Send you my blessings. We'll see you here tomorrow. Blessed be.